Okay, so thank you very much, Olasimbo, for joining us today. So it's a pleasure. So you were talking to Tony Tiu, founder and CEO of Renewables in Africa, your Africa Clean Energy Champion. So we were very much inspired to be talking to you. We have watched your TEDx video, and I have to say we were really inspired by the story that you share. We decided that we could not miss the chance to bring you into a conversation to share with you and our reader your experience, right? And we're going to go through a set of 10 questions, and hopefully we will get to know more about you and the fantastic organization that you represent. However, it will not be fair on me to start asking you questions before giving you the chance to introduce yourself. So, Olasimbo, would you mind please introducing yourself to our readers?
Hello, Tony, and thank you for this opportunity for me to speak today to you and to your audience. My name is Olasimbo Sojinrin, and I am the country director for Sola Sister Nigeria. I would say I'm a gender and energy expert, even though it's always weird calling yourself an expert, but I feel like that's what I have been doing for the past would I say about 15 years, doing something that relates to either women's empowerment or energy or social development. Those are the things that I've been doing. More recently, within the last 5 years, I've been running Solar Sister Nigeria, which is a social enterprise, a not-for-profit social enterprise that is committed to building a network of women entrepreneurs, especially in underserved communities, that will be kind of like the center or will provide energy access through a range of clean energy products that they would be distributing in their communities. So that's what I've been doing in the last 5 years, trying to do that. But Solar Sister as an organization, we have this mission in Africa that we want to build a brighter world powered by women entrepreneurs across Africa. So this is
Excellent,
me
excellent.
in a nutshell.
No, that's fine. Thank you very much. Brilliant. So you mentioned Solar Sister, the organization that you represent, and you bringing two, I would say, two key points that we usually talking about in the industry. You're talking about women empowerment, so you're talking about entrepreneurship, and you're talking about clean energy, and that's what Solar Sister seems to be bringing under the same roof. The model that you're rolling out, would you say it is scalable?
Yes, I will, because we believe that we are meeting the solution one entrepreneur at a time. The numbers are out there. 600 million Africans are faced with energy poverty. How do we begin to make a dent in that? In Nigeria, for instance, 1 year the government said they needed 3 times the national budget to be able to get energy to 100% of Nigerians. So we know that's not going to happen. We know we can't wait for the government to solve the problem. So what do? We don't fold our arms and say, and be helpless. We'll say, um, how do we start, finding solutions ourselves, within ourselves, and things that, can make a difference. And so I feel once every community has that access point where they can get energy, I believe that we'll begin to change that narrative. So for me, it's about that. It's building a business around the problem. Building an enterprise around the problem, and that's the way to scale an organization.
Excellent, excellent. And you mentioned a Nigerian operation. Were they set up by you, or you were just appointed into the role?
I mean, it's both. So I was appointed to actually set up the Nigerian operation 5 years ago. Solar Sister was founded by Catherine Lucy. She's an American, and it started in Uganda. But since then, we now have operations in Nigeria and Tanzania, and I started Nigeria 5 years ago. So.
Okay. And as a country director, So how would you rate your achievement compared to your ambition? Would you say you're doing excellent, or things can be improved, or you're completely disappointed?
So, I'm my own biggest critic. Um, I would say that we're doing well. I would say that every year I set myself a target for the country, on what we hope to achieve. Of the 4 years, I think last year was the year that we did achieve that target. This year, I am not yet on track because I set a bigger target. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, and that's how, it's just, we have a mantra which is better every day, and that's what we aspire, that in whatever we're doing, however we're trying to create this impact, we're getting better every day. And that, I think, is what the organization is doing. We're growing, we're getting better. So for me, I take that as success.
excellent. I like that mantra. In doing that, I'm sure you must encounter challenges on an everyday basis. So what would you say are your main challenges for the business, and how do you overcome them?
Absolutely. So the challenges, I mean, what is this world without challenges? There are challenges. We have to deal with building a business model in the most difficult place to reach. So there's a reason why the last mile communities, are the last to reach, because it's very difficult. It becomes less cost effective for manufacturers to take the product all the way down to where the need is the most. And so I think that's where we are the stopgap. So of course we have the logistical challenges, we have the economic challenges, because entrepreneurship, it still revolves about money, access to finance, or entrepreneurs getting the finance, the consumers getting the finance. So we have, pockets of challenges are along these issues. We also have the social issues. So, like, we have cultural issues. So we have areas where we operate where it is not the norm for a woman to go around marketing her products, because either religious reasons or cultural reasons, it's just not the norm. And so having to fight that to build a business, or having to be creative around how to build a business without actually doing the conventional way. These are all the things that we have to deal with. But we're forging ahead. We ensure that we come together. We're using our resources. We don't One of the things that we don't do is dump like the knowledge, or try and take one template from one place and retrofit it into a community. So we always start from getting to know what the community is, what are the peculiarities of that community, how can we function in that community in a way that benefits the entrepreneur. So we have this inverted hierarchical pyramid where our entrepreneur is at the top, and everything that we do is to think about how does this entrepreneur succeed in the midst of the circumstances around her. And that's the way we've been able to overcome some of it. Some of it is still challenging, but we just get better every day. We just keep pushing through, and that's been how we've made it so far.
Excellent. And you mentioned so many times the word entrepreneurship, right? And I know you pretty much your organization counting on entrepreneurs to bridge the gap between poverty and energy prosperity. So I wanted to know, so your network of women entrepreneurs, so how do you recruit them, and is there a typical profile?
Yes, so we start from the community level. We do what we call community entrance. So we have a checklist, which has a set of questions on, you know, what the typical community is, what the energy access situation is there, what the occupation. We do all the social demographics in this checklist, and it actually comes up with a value, with a number to tell us, okay, is this community a goal or not? And then when we go in, we go through champions. We want to know which women, would want to take up this business, because ultimately it's entrepreneurship. The woman has to have the entrepreneurial spirit. We focus on women. We do have a few men entrepreneurs, but our portfolio is always 80%, over 80% women, because women are our focus. Um, uh, yeah, and those are loosely the major criteria that the community is viable. We find a woman who has entrepreneurial spirit, who is willing and able to do the business, who understands the peculiarity of the challenge and is willing to be, a social actor or a change agent in her community, and is willing to also preach this gospel of light and opportunity. So those are the things that we do to get women to sign on.
Okay, and you mentioned last mile distribution, and one of the
Yeah.
key challenges last mile distribution is to be able to meet financial viability. So I wanted to know, speaking to you, basically you on the field on a daily basis, how much of it,
Mm-hmm.
how much the solar sister entrepreneur is an opportunity for these people you're reaching out to? Are they able to meet their entire family needs, or do they need to have an additional occupation on the side?
Okay, so what we found, I mean, we have different ranges of entrepreneurs. We have the superstars who, through this business, are
Hmm.
able to cover their family needs. But we do have some other entrepreneurs who are doing two, three, multiple businesses at the same time, or as a farmer, as a businesswoman, probably is doing her own craft and is selling that. So there's a range, there's a mix. And I wouldn't say every single entrepreneur on our network is meeting their entire need, but they are meeting some need. So we have the ones who um, do this business as additional income to take care of some of like their personal needs or like their home needs. And then we have the entrepreneurs we categorize as our superstars, who are earning enough to cover the entire need. So we have that across our network.
Okay, okay, I understand. And I mentioned your TEDx video, which I recommend to everybody to watch. And there's that one character that caught my attention, which was Mama that you mentioned. Is she still part of your
Mhm.
network?
Yes, she is. She's one of our entrepreneurs in Nasarawa State, close to Abuja. Yeah, and she is. And there's several other entrepreneurs that are like her in Nigeria that are doing the same thing, that are known in their communities to just bring in that light and are seen as Mama Sola, and everybody sees them as that energy point where they can go to get their energy solution. So as I said, for us, we've identified that energy poverty is a gender issue. It has a woman's face, but we also want the narrative we're changing is that for energy prosperity should also be, women should be involved in that. And if there's money to be made from this challenge, I think we should be at the forefront of that, because for many years we've got, we're bearing the brunt of the challenges associated with energy poverty. Women are managers of energy in their homes, responsible for how, the food is cooked, how the home is lit, the children's homework. A lot of that traditionally um, falls on the shoulder of the woman. And so, you know, providing an opportunity for your own home, but also for, your neighbors and your community, and being that woman to make that change, but also to make money while doing it. I think it's a win-win. So for me, that's my own, that's my thought. That's why, that's what connects my passion to what I do, is to say that, look, we have to be the change and make the change and be at the forefront of that change. So
Okay,
for me, that's the connection.
that's a brilliant message. And how could people contribute to your ongoing success with Solar Sister in Nigeria and with the organization as a whole?
I think for of course, we have the website, which is www.solarsister.org, where you can interact with us. there. I think there's a donate button there if you want to contribute financially, or if you just want to get on board. If you have relatives, I'm speaking to people who are not in country. If you have relatives that are in country that you would like to empower specifically, or you just want to, to support the organization, it's an opportunity to do both. So I would just recommend that they visit the website, and then they can take it from there.
I'm sure they will surely do. So what advice would you give to the younger African generation, especially women, into the fight against energy poverty?
I mean, it's just my advice is that there are alternatives. Like, we have it's part of our tenacity and endurance, and we have this tendency or ability to just accept fate or accept things the way they are. But what my advice is that we actually have the ability to make that change, and we should, as women, we should be bold and make that change. And and it's not just, which is typical of women, it's not just a change that would affect just you, but it's one that would affect others, affect your community. So for me, yeah, that's my advice. Women, like, we should stand up and and be change agents and make the difference, and not let societal pressures or family pressures hold us down. Yeah, because we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our communities, we owe it to our economy to contribute our own bit to prosperity.
Okay, so the one last final word for you. Do you have a special message for our Renewables in Africa audience?
So my message is, yes, we're all in this together. Whatever we can do, especially towards eradicating energy poverty, we should. There are a lot of needless deaths, especially that are connected to energy poverty. Especially like in the cooking sector. We're preaching that cooking shouldn't kill. A lot of our mothers, a lot of our wives are in smoky kitchens, inhaling those dangerous fumes 3 times a day to cook meals for their family, and that shouldn't be the case. There's a lot of challenges associated with energy poverty that we can solve. So as a community, as Renewables in Africa, I'm encouraging all of us to keep doing what we're doing. You know, as we all know, there's an energy crisis. Renewable energy is one of the ways to mitigate it. So don't give up, don't lose hope, keep doing this, keep doing the great work. So that's my.
That's a brilliant message. So, Olasimbo, I would like to say thank you very much for taking the time for talking to us today. It was a pleasure. I would say keep going, keep doing what you're doing. You've built a fantastic organization in the ground in Nigeria and also across Africa. And you can be sure of our support here at Renewables in Africa. And I'm hoping that we should be able to meet you very soon in Nigeria or somewhere in the continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tony. It was a pleasure.